another bold, raw, and thought provoking episode of Mind Over Masculinity, the podcast where we unravel the layered, often unspoken truths about men's mental health, leadership, and the identity. I'm your host Avik, and today we are stepping into the dojo, not just of the martial arts, but of the mind. Yeah. So with me is Bogdan Rosu. So welcome to the show, Bogdan.
Hey Avik, nice to meet you, and thank you for having me.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much for joining us today. And so, before we start, before we dive deep into this discussion today, I'll quickly love to introduce you to all the listeners. So, dear listeners, Bogdan is a leadership and high performance coach, martial artist, and the visionary behind the Stories from Your Future Self podcast. So he's the author of the upcoming book, Greatness and Mastery 10 Martial Arts Plus Leadership Principles that give you the age to join the top 0.01% without sacrificing your freedom. Yeah. So Bogdan helps high performing leaders from seven figure CEOs to founders at a crossroads break through their mental bottlenecks and become black belts in business and the life. So today we are unpacking a question like every ambitious man wrestles with, which is, can you chase greatness without burning out your soul? So why to wait? Let's find out. Welcome to the show again.
Beautiful. I love the intro. It shows that you've been doing this for quite some time. I love your professionalism. Um, yeah, that's definitely a great question, and
Mhm.
I love the intersection between
Mhm.
martial arts leadership and masculinity, because this is actually a huge topic, whether you're aware of it or not, for both men and women. Women have a hard time when they're very ambitious and they step into masculine energy at the office. And the challenge comes when you don't know when to switch it off, right? When you come back into your relationship. Um, if you are dealing, like, if your partner is somebody who feels comfortable in their masculine energy, then you just have uh two people competing for quote unquote the throne, right? And
Mm.
it creates conflict.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, what would you like to explore in our conversation?
Lovely, lovely. And I really love the name of the book, which is Greatness and Mastery. It actually speaks about a lot. So definitely, it's a dual concept. So how do you define greatness in a world which is
Mhm.
actually obsessed with hustle or numbers or the kind of optics? So what do you do? Yeah.
Yeah, great question. And these are actually the last two chapters. They're kind of the bonus chapters of the book, right? To kind of
Okay.
wrap everything up, put a ribbon on everything.
Hmm.
Um, what is greatness and what is true mastery? In my opinion, greatness is first of all love. Love for what you do, love for yourself, love for the people around you, and just living in passion as much as possible, right? Um, Simply put, it's like, imagine just doing what you love every single day and getting better at it. Like, greatness is inevitable, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's not about the accolades, because I thought, as everyone else, that chasing
Mm,
after external stuff will fill in the holes in my heart, but they never do, right? So to
mm,
me, real greatness is just you feeling great about
mhm.
yourself. It doesn't necessarily need to be something big, something huge, right?
Yeah, understood. Like, is it possible that uh, the pursuit of greatness is, if unchecked, can actually be uh, a kind of mask of insecurity?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's exactly what I was talking about. That's
Mhm.
I still have to check myself with that, right?
Mm,
Because i- i- to me, that's not necessarily greatness, you know?
mhm,
Um, because like if you're doing martial arts just to get the black belt, you get the black belt and you still don't feel great.
mm, mm.
There's so much more to learn. There's so many other different martial arts, right?
Yeah.
It's like being clear what greatness is to you. And I think like a healthy
Mm,
definition of greatness is, do I feel great? Like genuinely feel great about
mm,
myself? Because if you've achieved something amazing today, but
mhm,
you feel good, not even great
mm,
for like 2 minutes, and then you're off chasing the next thing,
mm.
then was it really worth it? Right? It's
Yeah.
really, can you follow your excitement every day
Mm,
and make the journey great?
mm. True. Definitely. I mean, I will say that here that I have seen so many of men um, equate their worth to the output, achievements,
Hmm.
um, like even gym statistics. I mean, yet inside they are running off the fumes. So this is something I definitely say. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the societal norm, isn't it?
Mm,
Right? Women have inherent value because
mm,
they can, produce babies, and we're always taught as kids,
mm,
hey, we're like as boys, we're educated in terms of how
mm,
to treat a lady, right? Don't be an
yeah.
asshole. Don't,
Mm,
um you have to be gentle, but
mm,
nobody really teaches
mm,
other people how to treat men,
yeah.
right? So,
Exactly.
of course, we're left feeling that we are inherently worthless and we have to go out and hunt and bring home the kill to be celebrated and feel good about ourselves. Right. 100%.
Mm,
But that is a huge trap, right? Because you're
mm,
you're always trying to kind of like, you know, what I was doing. Like my martial arts school, when I started teaching,
mm,
I hired a business coach, right? He taught me about marketing and sales, and my martial arts school was doing really well.
mm,
By all accounts, I should have been ecstatic because I was making more money than before. Like people knew me all over the capital of Romania. People knew me outside of the
mm,
country, right? But I was miserable. Right?
mm.
I still felt worthless.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, wow. So this is really, really a great point. Yeah, and also like you talk about the martial arts principles in the leadership. Um,
Mhm,
uh, One that stood out is like be like water. So,
mhm.
how can men apply this in the high stress roles where rigidity is often seen as kind of strength?
Mm, great, great, great point. Yeah,
Mhm.
rigidity is actually weakness
Yeah.
in disguise, right?
Mm.
Much like the principle in the book, fear is ferocity in
Mm.
disguise. Rigidity is insecurity, right?
Mm.
And let's say you have a piece of wood, dried
Mm.
wood, and you have a piece of bamboo, right? Which
Mhm.
one is actually stronger?
Mm.
The bamboo,
Mm.
obviously, right? Because it
Yes.
moves with the wind, it moves with life, and it had a
Right.
lot of water, right? So
Yes.
you have the five elements. You have water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. Now, all of these elements feed each other. So obviously, water feeds the wood, right?
Correct.
Um, rigidity is metal, right? You're very set in your ways. There's an objective, right? There's nothing that can
Yeah.
turn you away from it. Now, here's an important principle:
Mm.
water does not feed metal, but
Mm.
metal feeds water.
Yeah.
Here's what I mean by that: water knows what
Mm.
it is, who
Correct.
it is,
Mm.
right? It doesn't necessarily need to prove, but when Bruce Lee says water becomes the cup, it becomes the teapot, that doesn't mean
Mm.
water forgets who it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you forget your standards, you forget your values, right?
True.
But you have the flexibility to adapt to that situation in such a way where the person shows you how to
Mhm.
solve the situation. Very, very important. So, like in Wing Chun, the martial art that I taught, by Bruce Lee's first martial
Mhm.
art, um, channeling the water element
Yeah.
means feeling into where the hole is in the defense and basically allowing your partner to show you exactly what to do in that moment, right? So let's
Mm.
say you have a tough conversation at work, right? Your colleague
Right.
says, "Hey, you fucked up, right? Can I swear
Mm.
on this, or am I gonna be beat?"
Yeah, sure, sure, no, sure.
I was just wondering if there's gonna be a lot of bleeps in this.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So, right,
Mhm.
an example would be, "Hey, you really fucked up here. I think you messed up," right?
Mm.
Rigidity would be, "No, I didn't mess." This is mental, right? "I didn't mess up.
Mm.
I know what I did," right? Very slice and dice, right? Like cutting the
Correct.
person off immediately, right? But
Yeah.
water is like, "Hmm, interesting. Can you tell me a bit more about why you feel that way?" Right?
Mm.
So you're kind of right now you're emptying your cup, let's say,
Yeah.
to be filled with the other person's perspective. And now you're circling back after they say, "Hey, I felt like this was off, this was off. That is very interesting. Hey, how would you have done this better? I'm really curious. I am trying to improve, right?"
Mm.
Again, you're not compromising on your character. You're not compromising on your
Correct.
values. You're being flexible. You're right. The person is feeling like they're being
Mm.
seen. And all of a sudden, the person who's against you is now a friend, right? And after you get all of that information, you can circle back and say, "Hey, you know what? I thought this was going to be the best solution. I see your
Mhm.
point of view. Do you feel like adding this, and that to the
Mm.
mix would be helpful?" And all of a sudden, now you have that person showing you because they shared what they feel you could have done better.
Yeah.
What are you getting? The holes in quote unquote their defense where you can come in and fill it in with your water.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you have a new entity, a new project, a new solution that wasn't there before.
Mm.
That's leadership.
True. Exactly understood. And wow. So, you coach top tier leaders who are afraid to make the next moves. So, even with $120 million in the bank, what's the psychology behind that kind of paralysis at the top? What do you say?
It's the same as any level, right?
Okay.
Um, whether you're just starting out or you're a business veteran,
Mm-hmm.
fear is still fear.
Mm.
But when you dig a level deeper, you
Yeah.
realize that it's actually ferocity. Here's what I mean, right? Ferocity doesn't necessarily mean violence. You can ferociously go after a goal, right?
Mm.
But that fear, that intensity that you feel, right? Because you're referring to my client who was reluctant to grow his, 9-figure business because he believed he would make a mistake that would cost him millions, right? But
Correct.
when you unveil that fear, and what I did with him was, "Hey, here's who you really are. Here's where you started. Here's all of the stuff you were afraid of. Here's proof that you've dealt with it.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of the matter is that you're comfortable right now, but you know it's not sustainable." So
Mm.
that's exactly the first question I asked him. I said, "Do you feel comfortable dying and knowing you could have done so much more?" Right?
Yeah.
So that cracked into the fear,
Mm-hmm.
and now his enthusiasm, his ferocity came up. It's like, "No, I don't feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable. That's why I'm here," right? So
Yeah.
when that veil of fear dissipates, then all you have is all of this stored potential, all of that stored energy that's just waiting to flow
Mm.
towards the objective, towards giving life to the business again.
Correct. Exactly. Wow. So, I mean, how much of that fear comes from self doubt? What do you say?
Um, I mean, all of it, all they're kind of the same thing, self-doubt
Mm,
and fear. It's like the idea is that you're identifying yourself with
mhm,
the tool rather than the tool user, right? I'm sure
right.
you've covered this many times, right? Especially when it comes
Mhm,
to us men. We
mm,
get trapped in our own heads and we say, I'm afraid. Right? You're basically in that moment, you are being fear.
okay.
But the fact of the matter that is that that's just an emotion. That's just a
Mm,
thought. You're embodying an emotion or a thought. But that's
mm,
because you're forgetting who you actually are. You're not the tool.
mhm,
Fear is a
mhm,
tool. It's very, very useful. It's very useful to have self-doubt because
mm,
you can go back, reevaluate, come back better,
mm,
right?
mm,
It's useful. But when you're stuck there, then
yeah.
you're trapped. So the idea is to step back, connect to the higher version of you, be the observer, see the bigger
Mhm,
picture, and then you realize that the correct way of describing the situation is
mm,
I am choosing self-doubt in this moment. I am choosing fear in this moment, right?
yep.
It would be silly to go into your shed and say, I am now a hammer, right?
Mm,
You're just picking up the hammer to use it, and then you can put it
yeah.
away once you're done with it.
Mm, wow. That's amazing. And like, okay. So I have to ask this as well. Like, your book includes the best defense is offense. So in today's context, where mental burnout and quite quitting are actually rising, isn't this a principle a bit dangerous? I mean, just wanted to ask. Yeah.
hmm It depends if you see yourself as a soldier or a general,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Because as uh as a leader, you're obviously in a leadership position. If you're not, this is how you work your way up to a leadership position. Offense doesn't mean you working 24/7. Offense means having systems and people, or also means rather having systems and people in place, the right systems, the right people that can go on the offense for you, right? Simple example would be, you look at investors, people
right.
who just, go and they're really, really good at investing in the stock market. What's
Mm,
the offense there? It's their money, it's not their time, right? So
mm,
that's a great question and very, very much worth clarifying.
yeah.
Don't put your time on the offense because you will burn out 100%. Put the right systems and the right team in place that can go on the offense for you.
Mm, exactly. Exactly. Ooh. And like like how do you balance that forward charge with recovery and the reflection?
By understanding that recovery is still part of the work,
Yeah.
because the hardest thing for a high performer is to do nothing. But
Mm,
when you realize that your nothing time is actually
mhm,
still work, and you come to peace with the fact that you cannot switch your brain off from needing to perform, and that is totally fine, right? That's kind of the power of paradox. When you accept that you hate doing nothing
mm,
and you would rather be working, and then it finally clicks with you that that is work. Taking a nap is work because you come back to it, right? You're still contributing, you're still adding value to your journey as a leader.
yeah.
That's how you balance it out, right?
Mm,
And it's like, okay, did I work on my systems today, right? Did I start my day with improving my system, um, with elevating my team? Was that the first item on my list? Yes.
mm,
Great. Then the rest I can complete or I can half complete. I can take a nap. I can rest. That's totally fine. Right.
okay. Mm, got it. Got it. I love that edge in this idea, but um it also raises somewhere the query. So that is the reason I asked this. But yeah, thanks for clarifying this. Yes. Mm. And
No,
also, like, yeah,
it's a huge trap. 100%.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And also, like I was just saying, like, you have helped over 1,000 people become more confident. So, in your experience, what's the root cause of men not stepping into their full potential? So, what do you have to say?
Mm. Well,
Mhm.
it it really depends what that is to you personally, you know, because we love to throw that around in terms of what is your full potential. It's like
Mm.
you reach your full potential right before you die.
Mm.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna get you to your full potential, but the next day you're gonna be dead. Are you gonna say yes to
Mm.
that? Probably not, right? So, what does that mean, right? Now, maybe if we look at why are men so
Mm.
full of self-doubt,
Mhm.
why are men so out of touch with their
Mm.
masculinity?
Mm.
Um, I think the answer has to do with kind of understanding feminine energy as well. You know, that's
Okay.
to me,
Mm.
that's part of really living into your greatness, right?
Mm.
Because feminine energy, right? It
Mm.
it's basically these moments where you also need a hug.
Mm.
You need to give a hug, right? You need to kind
Okay.
of soften down and really listen. Water is feminine energy,
Mm.
right? It's a life giver. So knowing when to it kind of ties back to timing, right? In
Okay.
martial arts, timing is doing the right thing at the right time, or rather using the right
Mm.
tool at the right time.
Mm.
Knowing as a man when to use feminine energy,
Mhm.
when to use masculine energy
Mhm.
is a superpower, because sometimes you need to give yourself feminine energy when you're so, fearful, when you look at yourself and like you're so
Mm.
self-critical. Maybe you need a bit of love. Maybe you just need to give
Correct.
yourself a bit of love. Like, yes, I did
Mm.
mess up, but that's okay. I've have so much proof that I always come back stronger, that I always learn and I get 1% better.
Mm.
Hey, that's okay, right? So
Exactly.
that's a huge part of making progress, right?
Mm.
Why
Correct.
would you put why would you put yourself in more circumstances to be more self-critical
Exactly.
and you keep yourself stuck because there's no
Mm.
love in the work that you do?
Mm. Exactly. Exactly true. Oh, lovely. So, I mean, um, for so many men, confidence is tied to doing and rarely to being. So, it's almost like we forgot how to trust ourselves in the silence or the stillness. So, which is very important, I believe. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Exactly. So Bogdan, I mean, thank you so much for dropping so much power, precision, and perspective today. And your book, Greatness and Mastery, is not just a manual, but it's a movement, I would rather say, uh, and also a kind of reminder that leadership isn't about dominance; it's all about discipline, discernment, and also the deep inner work. So. Uh,
Mm.
Tell us, yeah,
If if I may touch upon that for a bit,
sure,
a lot of
please.
people associate martial arts with discipline.
Mhm.
I was teaching martial arts and I had no discipline.
Okay.
Like none.
Mhm.
Here's what I mean, right? I would always say, "Hey, I need to start journaling." It took me
Okay.
years to start journaling and
Mhm.
start using the to-do list, right?
Yeah.
I would say, "Hey, I need to work out more aside from, the training sessions at my school."
Mm.
I
Mm.
never did, right? Why?
Yeah.
I didn't love it. I loved teaching. I
Mhm.
love learning more, Wing Chun. I love martial arts. That wasn't a problem,
Mhm.
right?
Mm. Yeah.
But I didn't love working out. back then. Now I do, right? It was like a gradual process of dating the idea of working out, right? Doing 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the process, right? Like,
Yes.
and this is where kind of self-love comes in, like the feminine energy.
Okay.
When you're passionate about something
Mm-hmm.
and you're confident about the
Mm-hmm.
direction you're in, right? Let's say you have this big vision, or let's just say, hey, you want to work out and feel fit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you would feel passionate about it. Let's say you go to the gym once or twice, right? But then you're lacking the confidence that, hey, you can make different choices because let's say you've always made, the wrong eating choices, right? But the confidence
Yes.
isn't there that you can actually get the result.
Hmm.
That's why it's passion plus confidence. Then you need no discipline. When you have both, you just love being there so much, right?
Yep. Yep. That's true. That's true. Yep. So lovely. And if someone wants to connect with you, how they can connect?
I would say the best place is LinkedIn.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, that would be definitely the easiest way.
Wow. Lovely. So, to everyone who is listening, or maybe you'll be listening, what's your next belt? Not just in the career, but in the character, I'd say. So, dear listeners, if something today sparked a fire, then pause and reflect. Don't just scroll on and act on it. Just start your own journey towards greatness without losing yourself, which is very important. So, with this hope, dear listeners, until next time, keep your mind sharp, your spirit grounded, and your heart open. So, this is your host, Avik, signing off from Mind Over Masculinity. Take care. Have a great day. Thank you so much.